Caitlin Clark has unloaded on Angel Reese.
Well, it is a final against the Chicago Sky, and it was the worst nightmare.
Game number 1, 2025 WNBA season. Chicago Sky, how you doing? Oh, not too good.
Caitlin Clark didn't just silence the doubters, she embarrassed the entire Chicago Sky. On opening night, in front of a crowd expecting fireworks, Clark delivered a storm, and Angel Reese, she found herself at the center of a 35-point disaster. This wasn't just a win, it was a warning. The Indiana Fever weren't coming quietly. They were kicking down the door. Clark opened her second WNBA season with something no other player, past or present, had ever done: a triple-double in a season opener. 20 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, all with the confidence of someone who had waited 7 months to unleash it all. But here's where it gets wild. This wasn't even Clark's best shooting night. She shot under 50% from the field, yet she controlled the game like a seasoned veteran. Her passes, flawless. Her movement, relentless. And the Sky, completely overwhelmed. The scoreboard read 93-58 by the final buzzer, but the numbers didn't fully capture the humiliation. From the opening tip, Clark was in control. She sank an early three that ignited the crowd and then followed it with a no-look dime that left defenders spinning. One possession later, she snagged a rebound over a taller opponent, and suddenly, the momentum belonged entirely to Indiana. Clark didn't just set the tone, she was the tone.
Beat the Sky by nearly 40 points. They won 93-58.
Now here's where it starts to unravel for Chicago. The Sky weren't just outmatched, they looked stunned. And right in the middle of the mess was Angel Reese, trying to grab rebounds while her team fell apart around her. 17 boards from Reese might look good in a stat sheet, but what mattered more was how little impact those rebounds actually had. Not once did her team find rhythm. Not once did they push back. Aaliyah Boston made sure of that. Her presence in the paint? Absolutely dominant. She blocked 5 shots, tying her career high, and altered several more. Her positioning was surgical, cutting off every driving lane and suffocating any attempt to gain control in the paint. Camila Cardoso, the Sky's 6'7" center and Boston's former college teammate, had no answer. Every touch turned into a struggle. Every attempt turned into a miss. Let's take a moment to rewind. 7 months. That's how long Clark had to wait between games that mattered. 7 months of off-season talk. 7 months of people questioning whether she was more hype than substance. Was she too flashy? Too turnover-prone? Could she handle year 2 pressure? The Sky found out the hard way. This wasn't just a performance, it was a statement. And Angel Reese happened to be in the wrong place at the worst time. Here's what nobody expected. While all eyes were locked on Caitlin Clark's offense, it was the Indiana Fever's defense that truly stole the show. From the very first quarter, the Fever didn't just defend, they smothered. Every Sky possession felt like a war zone. Every shot contested, every pass disrupted. Chicago couldn't get comfortable. They couldn't even breathe. Lexi Hull came off the bench like a missile. She grabbed 9 rebounds and dropped 9 points, but her biggest contribution? Pure hustle. She threw her body at loose balls, tangled up screens, and forced turnovers just by outworking her matchups. And the fans noticed. The crowd roared every time she dove to the floor or stripped the ball clean from a Sky guard. Her name echoed in the arena, and she earned every cheer. But it gets even better. DeWanna Bonner added her own piece of history to the night. While the drama between Clark and Reese exploded online, Bonner calmly stepped to the line and drained 2 free throws that pushed her into 3rd place on the WNBA's all-time scoring list. No big celebration, no distractions, just a quiet moment of greatness. She didn't need the spotlight. She let her stats speak for her. And while the Sky were unraveling, Clark was orchestrating. Her court vision? Surgical. Her passing? Unstoppable. She wasn't just racking up assists, she was bending the defense, forcing rotations, and exposing every weakness in Chicago's setup. The Sky were so focused on stopping her shot that they forgot about the rest of the Fever. Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard both finished with 15 points each, draining mid-range jumpers and slashing through defenders like the Sky weren't even there. Now here's where it takes a turn. Late in the third quarter, just under 2 minutes left, the rising tension finally snapped. Angel Reese got the ball on a fast break.
Strong on a three. And look out, Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese gets right up into Caitlin Clark. As Clark walks away, we know there are always increased eyeballs, energy, and attention.
Clark stepped in and committed what she called a simple take foul.
To her. It's just a good take foul, you know? If you either Angel gets wide open 2 points or, you know, we send him to the free throw line. Nothing malicious about it. It's just a good take foul. Every basketball player knows that.
From your perspective, just what you saw on that play, how you interpreted what happened.
Basketball play, refs got it right. Go on.
Just trying to stop the easy layup. But Reese hit the floor hard, and suddenly the game shifted. Reese popped up, furious, charging in Clark's direction like she wanted smoke. Clark, cool as ever, just walked away. Didn't flinch, didn't react. Just turned her back while Aaliyah Boston stepped in between the two. The officials went to the monitor. The verdict? A flagrant foul on Clark.
Foul on Caitlin Clark has been upgraded to a flagrant foul, penalty 1. In addition, there is a double technical on Boston and Reese.
Technical fouls handed to both Reese and Boston. And just like that, the rivalry had its flashpoint. But what followed was brutal. Because after that moment, Indiana didn't panic. They turned up the heat. The Fever went on a 12-2 run, completely breaking Chicago's spirit. Clark didn't let the foul shake her. She used it as fuel. Her next few possessions? Dimes. Pull-up threes, perfect rotations on defense. She looked like she was built for that moment. And Reese? She disappeared. Her fire? Gone. Her intensity? Faded. She stopped talking, stopped crashing the paint. It was like the energy had been drained from her, and Indiana fed off it. But what really broke the Sky was the Fever's mindset. This wasn't a team that celebrated every bucket. This wasn't a team acting surprised by a blowout. The Indiana Fever came in with a mission. From head coach Stephanie White's game plan to the last player on the bench, they played like a team with something to prove. And prove it they did. Every possession, the Fever swarmed. It felt like they had 6 defenders on the court. The Sky couldn't even run a basic offensive set without it getting blown up. The numbers don't lie. Chicago shot just 29.1% from the field and 22.2% from beyond the arc. That's not just bad, that's broken.
Nasty, back-to-back quarters with 13 points. Couldn't even get a quarter over 18 points. Oh, Chicago Sky, I had you overrated. Oh, how I overestimated what I would see from the Chicago Sky. The Indiana Fever took care of business today.
Let that sink in. The Sky couldn't even score more than 18 points in any quarter. They turned the ball over 17 times, and most of those weren't even forced. They just cracked under pressure. Simple passes flew out of bounds. Screens didn't connect. Open looks got bricked because by the time they caught the ball, they were already panicking. At the heart of it all, Aaliyah Boston. She wasn't just defending, she was intimidating. She forced Camila Cardoso into one of her worst games ever. The 6'7" rookie looked helpless in the paint. Boston didn't just block 5 shots, she altered everything. The stat sheet doesn't show the shots Chicago didn't take because Boston was lurking. That fear? That's the kind of impact that changes games. And yet, one player still tried to make it about herself. Angel Reese was supposed to be the star, the enforcer, the one ready to bring the smoke. But when it came down to it, her energy vanished. After that flagrant moment, she stopped crashing, stopped leading. Her only post-game comment on the play? Basketball play, refs got it right. Let's move on. That's it. Meanwhile, Clark addressed it with poise. She didn't throw shade. She didn't fire back. She said what mattered, that it was just a take foul, nothing personal, that her focus was on execution, not emotion. She de-escalated it all, just like she did during the game, and the Fever followed her lead. While Clark was calm, the team went into overdrive. That 12-2 run after the flagrant foul wasn't a coincidence. It was a response. They used the drama to lock in even more. DeWanna Bonner's voice rang through the huddles. Kelsey Mitchell kept the energy alive with every pull-up jumper, and Lexi Hull was still everywhere, on the glass, in passing lanes, diving on the floor. The Sky, meanwhile, looked exhausted, mentally and physically. They were chasing shadows. By the fourth quarter, they had nothing left. And yet, the Fever weren't done. Despite being up 30, they kept playing hard. Coach White left Bonner in for a few extra minutes to make sure she got the moment she deserved. Those 2 free throws that pushed her into third on the all-time scoring list. The arena erupted. No drama, no ego, just respect. That's what makes this team different. This is where everything changes. After months of media hype, debates, and trash talk, the so-called Clark versus Reese rivalry finally played out on the court, and it wasn't close. It wasn't even a contest. Caitlin Clark didn't just win the game, she owned the moment. After her historic triple-double, Clark walked into the post-game press conference with no theatrics, no digs, no cheap shots. Instead, she praised the team's effort, highlighted Aaliyah Boston's dominance, and made sure everyone knew just how big of a moment it was for DeWanna Bonner, who had quietly made history of her own. She said it plainly. "I thought we were disruptive. We brought physicality. They didn't get clean looks, and we just kept playing. Not only that, we still have so much room to improve." Clark didn't sound like someone who just embarrassed an opponent. She sounded like someone focused on a championship. But here's the twist. This wasn't even Indiana's best game. That's what makes it terrifying for the rest of the WNBA. The Fever still missed defensive rotations. They still had stretches where they could have executed better, and they still beat the Sky by 35 points. The locker room afterward wasn't just filled with joy, it was filled with purpose. Cameras captured the team embracing, Coach Stephanie White reminding them they'd set a new standard. DeWanna Bonner got her flowers, and Caitlin Clark, Boston, Mitchell, and Hull all smiled like they'd just started something much bigger than one win. Meanwhile, the Sky looked broken. Angel Reese gave a brief post-game comment, trying to move past the flagrant foul as if nothing happened. But the energy told a different story. Her teammates looked stunned. Their body language slumped. And that fire Reese was known for? Completely gone. She wasn't talking anymore. She wasn't leading. She was just there. It wasn't just a rivalry that got shut down. It was a reputation. All the talk about who would be the face of the league, who would be the true star of the next generation. This game answered it without a doubt. And if this was the preview, then the rest of the season is going to be chaos. Because the Indiana Fever aren't underdogs anymore. They aren't rebuilding. They've arrived. Clark proved she's more than highlights. Boston proved she's still the best big in the league. Bonner showed why she's a legend. And players like Hull, Mitchell, and Howard proved this isn't a one-woman show. This team is dangerous, unified, hungry, and ready. The final buzzer didn't just end a game, it started a movement. The Fever are no longer just exciting, they're contenders. And just when you thought the message was sent, Caitlin Clark added one final exclamation point, not with words, but with how she walked off that court. No chest thumping, no staring anyone down, just a calm, steady walk, high-fiving her teammates and acknowledging the fans who had waited months to see her back in action. That's what separates Clark from the noise. She doesn't have to perform for the cameras. Her game does the talking. While Angel Reese tried to posture during a dead ball, Clark let her triple-double speak. She didn't fall into the bait. She didn't retaliate. She responded the only way that matters in the WNBA, with a historic win and a clinic-level performance. But what's coming next might be even more dangerous, because the Indiana Fever just proved they don't need everything to go right to dominate. No Sophie Cunningham, incomplete chemistry, some early season rust, and yet they still blew out a team that was supposed to challenge them physically. If they look this good with room to improve, Just imagine what happens when everything clicks. And the Fever aren't chasing hype, they're building a system. They have leadership in Dewana Bonner. They have grit in Lexi Hull. They have scoring weapons in Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard. And now, they have a superstar in Caitlin Clark who looks fully unlocked. The pieces are aligning, the pace is rising, and the rest of the league should be watching with a very real sense of fear. Because this isn't just a rivalry anymore. This is a warning. Indiana is coming. And Angel Reese just became the first warning shot.